Anna's hands trembled as she pressed her palm against the cold bathroom door. From the other side, she could hear her little daughter, Sophia, sobbing uncontrollably. "Please, let me go to her. She's just a child," Anna begged, but the housekeeper, Marta, only tightened her grip on the keys and hissed, "Stay there until Mr. Adrian comes back. He needs to see what kind of woman you truly are." Anna's heart pounded. She had been working at the mansion for only 2 months, and in that short time she had done everything to keep her job spotless. She knew how important it was. Without it, there would be no food on the table, no roof over Sophia's head. But now, Marta was accusing her of stealing a valuable necklace that had mysteriously disappeared from the master bedroom. Anna shook her head in disbelief. "I didn't take anything. I swear on my daughter's life." But Marta's eyes gleamed with cold satisfaction. "That's what they all say. Poor little maid, desperate for money. Don't worry, Adrian will know exactly what to do with you." Inside the small bathroom, Anna sank to the floor, her knees scraping against the tiles. She could still hear Sophia's frightened cries outside. It tore her apart, but she tried to stay calm. Baby, Mama's here. Everything will be okay," she whispered, though her own voice quivered. Her mind raced. Who would believe her over Marta? The housekeeper had been with Adrian's family for over 15 years. Loyal, trusted, respected. And Anna? Just a young single mother trying to survive. The odds were against her. Yet deep inside, a spark of hope flickered. In the past weeks, she had noticed something unusual. Adrian, the cold and distant millionaire, had started coming downstairs more often when Anna worked. At first, she thought it was coincidence, but then she caught him watching as she played with Sophia in the garden. His stern face softened every time the child giggled. He wasn't unkind, just guarded, as though carrying secrets of his own. And while Anna never dared to imagine more, she sensed that Adrian saw her differently than Marta wanted him to believe. But would that be enough? The sound of the front door unlocking echoed through the house. Marta straightened her blouse, a victorious smile spreading across her face. "Finally," she murmured. "Now you'll pay for your lies." Anna's pulse quickened. This was it, the moment that could decide her future. As Adrian's footsteps drew closer, she held her breath, clutching her hands together in silent prayer. Would he see the truth in her eyes or condemn her forever? The heavy footsteps echoed down the marble hallway, growing louder with every second. Marta stood tall near the door, rehearsing her expression of false concern. When Adrian appeared, dressed in a tailored suit and loosening his tie after a long day, her eyes lit up as if salvation had just arrived. "Mr. Adrian," she said sweetly, her tone dripping with rehearsed sorrow, "I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but something terrible happened today." Adrian frowned, slipping off his jacket. "Where's Anna? She usually greets me when I come home." "That's exactly the problem." Marta lowered her voice dramatically. "I caught her snooping in your bedroom. Moments later, the necklace your mother left you, the sapphire one, was gone. When I confronted her, she stammered, tried to run with her child, so I had no choice but to lock her away until you returned." Adrian's eyes narrowed. "You locked her? With the child?" No, the child is outside." "But Adrian," she placed her hand on her chest, as if deeply wounded. "You mustn't let her deceive you. These young mothers, desperate and penniless, sometimes they think stealing is survival. I only wanted to protect you." For a moment, silence hung heavy. Marta felt triumphant, certain her performance had convinced him. But then a faint sound broke through the tension, the muffled whimper of a child. Adrian tilted his head, recognizing the fragile voice of Sophia calling out for her mother. "Where is she?" he demanded, his tone sharp. Marta hesitated. "In the service bathroom." It was the only safe thing to do. But Adrian didn't wait for her excuses. He strode past, his jaw clenched, and reached for the bathroom door. Marta reluctantly handed him the key, her heart racing as she realized her plan might be unraveling too quickly. When the door opened, Adrian froze. There, on the cold tile floor, sat Anna. Her hair clung to her damp cheeks where tears had fallen, her arms wrapped protectively around little Sophia, who was trembling but silent now that she saw him. Anna looked up, her eyes wide, a mixture of fear and dignity burning in them. "Mr. Adrian," she whispered, "I didn't take anything. Please believe me." The sincerity in her voice struck him harder than he expected. In that instant, the carefully planted seeds of doubt from Marta began to wither. He remembered every small moment over the past weeks. The way Anna hummed lullabies while cleaning, the patience with which she calmed Sophia, the honesty that shone through her every word. Could this really be the face of a thief? Adrian bent down, scooping Sophia gently into his arms. The little girl clung to him instantly, burying her face against his chest. "You locked a child away from her mother for hours?" His voice thundered as he turned toward Marta. "Do you have any idea how cruel that is?" Marta faltered, panic flashing across her face. "I only wanted to protect you. She's dangerous." "Dangerous?" Adrian cut her off, his tone laced with disbelief. He glanced back at Anna, still sitting on the floor, holding herself together despite the humiliation. Something twisted inside him, a mix of anger, protectiveness, and something else he dared not name. "Enough," Adrian said firmly. "I'll handle this my way." And for the first time, Marta felt the ground slipping beneath her carefully constructed lies. Adrian carried Sophia back into the living room, her small fingers clutching his shirt as if she instinctively knew he was her only shield. Anna followed quietly, her face pale, but her chin lifted, determined not to appear broken. Marta trailed behind, her heart hammering as she tried to think of a way to twist the situation back into her favor. Adrian set Sophia on the couch and turned sharply toward Marta. "Where's this necklace you claim she stole?" Marta clasped her hands nervously. It's missing, sir. I searched everywhere, and—" "No necklace, no proof," Adrian interrupted. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with quiet fury. "All I see is a loyal employee humiliated and a child traumatized. Explain yourself, Marta." For a brief second, her mask cracked. I only wanted to protect you," she stammered again. "Do you not see? She's wrapping you around her finger. Always with her innocent eyes, her child as bait." Anna's breath caught. She took a step forward, trembling with indignation. "How dare you? I brought my daughter here because I had no one else. I never once used her to ask for sympathy. I only work, clean, and try to survive." Her voice cracked, but she stood her ground, staring directly at Adrian. "And I would rather starve than steal." Adrian studied her face, the raw truth in her words. For the first time in years, he felt something stir within him, something Marta had never seen in all her decades at the mansion. But Marta wasn't ready to surrender. She straightened her back, venom slipping into her tone. "Adrian, I've served this house for half my life. I was here before her. I will be here after. You cannot let a stranger with a sob story ruin everything. Think carefully before you choose whom to trust." The words were calculated, heavy with unspoken warning. Adrian's jaw tightened. "Trust is earned, Marta, and right now, yours is hanging by a thread." A tense silence followed, broken only by Sophia's soft sniffles. Anna knelt by her daughter, brushing her hair back tenderly. The sight pierced Adrian's chest. It was such a pure image, one Marta could never fabricate with her manipulations. Suddenly, Adrian's phone buzzed in his pocket. He glanced at the screen and frowned. "Security, just send me a message. They reviewed the cameras." His eyes flicked back to Marta. "They saw you in the master bedroom this morning. Alone." Marta froze. Her lips parted, but no words came out. "You said Anna was there," Adrian continued, his voice low and dangerous. "But the footage proves otherwise. Care to explain that?" The blood drained from Marta's face. I wanted to tidy up. That's all." Anna's heart skipped. She hadn't known about cameras, hadn't even realized the mansion had them. Relief washed over her, but fear remained. Would Marta twist this too? Adrian took a step closer to the housekeeper. "You accused her. You locked her in a room with no evidence. And now I find you were the one lurking in my mother's bedroom." Marta's chest rose and fell rapidly. "You don't understand," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Everything I do for you." The words chilled the air. Anna's stomach knotted as she looked at Marta's expression. It wasn't fear anymore. It was obsession. Adrian stared at her, stunned. For me? Yes, Marta said, her voice breaking. I've protected you from women like her for years. They come, pretending to care, but all they want is your wealth, your name. I won't let anyone take you from me. Her confession hung in the room like a blade. Anna pulled Sophia closer, instinctively shielding her. Adrian's face hardened. Whatever doubt he had was gone. He now understood Marta's cruelty was not about loyalty, but something far darker. Get out, he said coldly. Marta flinched, her eyes wide with desperation. Adrian, please. I said get out. His voice thundered through the mansion. But even as she stumbled back, Marta's gaze flickered to Anna and her child. And in that fleeting moment, Anna felt a shiver run down her spine. Because Marta's eyes weren't defeated. They were vengeful. The next morning, the mansion was unusually quiet. Anna tiptoed around the kitchen, preparing breakfast while Sophia played with wooden blocks on the floor. Though Adrian had allowed them to stay, a part of her still felt like an intruder. She replayed Marta's words in her head, that strange declaration. I've protected you from women like her for years. It haunted her. Adrian entered the room, his sleeves rolled up, looking more weary than usual. He poured himself coffee and studied her for a long moment before speaking. You shouldn't let her words get to you. Anna lowered her gaze. But what if she's right? You've known her for half your life. I'm just no one. Stop. Adrian interrupted firmly. You're not no one. I've seen how hard you work, how much love you give your daughter. That means more than years of service filled with lies. His words warmed her chest, but before she could respond, the doorbell rang. Moments later, the butler entered, his face troubled. Sir, there are officers at the gate. They say they received a report. Anna stiffened. Report? About what? The butler swallowed. They claim there are suspicions of child neglect here. Anna's knees buckled. Sophia, hearing the tension, clung to her mother's leg. Adrian's expression turned to steel. This is Marta's doing, he muttered. He motioned for the butler to let the officers in. Two women in plain suits entered, introducing themselves as child welfare agents. Their eyes swept the room, lingering on Sophia. We received an anonymous tip suggesting the child might not be properly cared for in this household. One of them explained. That's absurd, Adrian snapped. You can see for yourself. She is safe, healthy, loved. But protocol demanded otherwise. They inspected Sophia's room, checked the fridge, even examined her vaccination papers. Anna trembled the entire time, terrified that one misplaced blanket or an empty milk carton might be twisted into evidence. After nearly an hour, the agents concluded, we found nothing alarming. The child appears well cared for. However, we will file a note that a report was made. If another arrives, it could prompt a deeper investigation. As they left, Anna collapsed into a chair, burying her face in her hands. She won't stop, Adrian. She'll keep coming after us until she ruins everything. Adrian crouched before her, his hands resting on hers. Then we'll fight back. I'll protect you, Anna. I promise. But that promise was tested sooner than either of them imagined. 2 days later, Adrian was leaving for work when a stranger appeared at the gate. A woman, elegantly dressed, introduced herself as Carmen Silva. I used to employ Anna, she said softly. I thought you should know the truth. Anna, who overheard from the garden, froze. She had never seen this woman before. Carmen continued, her voice dripping with false pity. She stole from me once, jewelry. I didn't press charges because she was pregnant, but I regret it now. Please be careful. She'll do the same to you. Adrian's jaw tightened. He had no evidence this was another lie, but everything about the woman's rehearsed tone screamed manipulation. And then he noticed something. Her eyes flicked nervously toward the street, as if waiting for someone's approval. He turned sharply, scanning the corner. For just a moment, he caught sight of Marta's figure, half hidden behind a parked car, watching. Adrian's blood boiled. Enough games, he muttered. He dismissed Carmen coldly and stormed back into the house. Anna rushed to him, panic in her voice. What did she say? He hesitated. Part of him wanted to shield her from the cruelty of Marta's schemes, but he knew honesty mattered more. She accused you of theft, claimed you worked for her before. Anna's eyes widened in horror. That's a lie. I've never met that woman in my life. I know, Adrian assured, gripping her shoulders. I saw Marta outside. She's pulling strangers into her web to destroy you. Anna's breath came quick and shallow. Then what happens when the next person believes her? What if you believe her? Her voice cracked, and in that moment Adrian realized the depth of her fear. It wasn't just about losing her job. It was about losing the fragile sense of safety she had finally found. He cupped her face gently. Anna, look at me. No matter what Marta throws at us, I will not doubt you again. Do you understand? Tears welled in her eyes. She wanted to believe him, but Marta's shadow loomed large, poisoning every corner of their lives. And somewhere, hidden from sight, Marta watched them through narrowed eyes, her lips curling into a dangerous smile. If lies won't tear them apart, she whispered to herself, then I'll have to use the truth. Adrian could no longer ignore the storm Marta had unleashed. Every day brought a new rumor, a new shadow of doubt cast over Anna's name. He finally hired a private investigator, determined to uncover the truth. Within a week, the results came in. Marta had a history of destroying the women who came close to Adrian. False accusations, planted evidence, whispers to neighbors, the same pattern repeated for years. The weight of it all hit Adrian like a blow. He had allowed Marta to remain in his life far too long. Now her obsession was threatening not just him, but the fragile family he was building. One evening, while Anna was preparing dinner, Marta appeared uninvited at the mansion. She walked into the living room as if she still belonged there, her eyes wild with desperation. You think she loves you? Marta spat, pointing at Anna. She'll leave the moment something better comes along. I'm the one who has always been here. Adrian stepped between them, his voice firm. Enough. I know everything you've done. The lies, the false reports, even paying strangers to smear Anna's name. It's over, Marta. Her face twisted, torn between rage and heartbreak. I did it all because I love you, because I couldn't stand watching you waste your life on someone who doesn't deserve you. Anna held Sophia tightly, her heart pounding, but she didn't flinch. For once, she refused to let Marta see her fear. Adrian took a deep breath. His decision was final. Love doesn't destroy Marta. What you feel isn't love, it's control. And it ends tonight. Before Marta could respond, the investigator stepped into the room, accompanied by 2 officers Adrian had called in advance. Marta Lemos, one officer announced, you are under arrest for harassment, false allegations, and obstruction. Her eyes widened in shock. You call the police? Adrian, please don't do this. You'll regret it. But Adrian didn't waver. He watched silently as they led her out, her shouts echoing down the hallway. When the door finally shut, silence fell over the mansion. Anna sank into a chair, clutching Sophia, tears streaming down her cheeks. It's over, it's really over. Adrian knelt beside her, gently brushing her tears away. Yes, no one will hurt you again. I promise. For a long moment, they sat there in quiet relief, the weight of weeks of fear lifting from their shoulders. Sophia, sensing the calm, looked up at Adrian and reached out her little hands. He lifted her into his arms, and she giggled, resting her head against his chest. Anna's heart swelled at the sight. After everything, after the accusations, the fear, the cruelty, here was the truth that could never be faked. The bond between them was real. Adrian met Anna's gaze. His voice softened, almost breaking. You and Sophia, you're more than guests in this house. You're my family. If you'll let me, I want to be the one who protects you for the rest of my life. Anna's lips parted in shock, then curved into the faintest, trembling smile. The pain of the past weeks melted into something new, hope. And in that moment, as Sophia drifted to sleep in Adrian's arms, Anna whispered the words that sealed their future. We're not going anywhere. We're home.